And now, whoop, there we go.
Hi, everybody.
Sorry, now let me eat. Okay, there we go. Alrighty, everyone, let's get into, or welcome to the first Smut Club meeting ever. First one of 2022 here.
No thought, no plot, just hot.
I know. I love that tagline. And I do actually think that this one kind of fit that. I mean, I think there did try to be like a little more plot to it towards the end. I was not caring about that. But
I agree.
It is. So let's just start out, and you guys can post in the chat as well what your like general, like Cheyenne, your like general thoughts, your star rating of Kink Camp Hunted by A. Anders. What did you think?
I think I was a little let down. I was hoping for more Kink. I mean, you see the title Kink Camp and you're expecting a lot more. I give it 3 stars. And I feel like that's being generous. I feel like that was being very generous. I think the biggest part was I got what their kink was. I got that. They met on that level. I get that. But I don't know. I guess it just, the whole book was in darkness, first off, which you and I talked about that a little bit too. Like, do you ever see each other? Like, do your eyes not adjust to light at all? And so that bothered me. And there were so many scenes where like they're in there talking after they're screwing each other. They're sitting there talking and then they'll see each other and then not remember that that's the other person. And how do you not like tag team their voices? How do you not think like, I was just having a conversation with you. Yeah, it was dark. I just now, like, I don't remember your voice. What? We were just screwing in the woods. And then now we're in a coffee shop. Like, what? You can't separate it. You can't put 2 and 2 together.
Yeah.
So yeah, that bothered me. But I think I just wanted more. I felt like if it was a longer book, I think it would have been a lot more successful, but it did nothing to me.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I also gave it 3 stars, and I was talking with Cheyenne before this that if Goodreads had half stars, it probably would have been like a 2.5 for me. It was on like the low end of 3 stars. It was fine, but like you said, like it's called Kink Camp, and besides them like chasing each other through the woods, there's not much else to their relationship. Like there are mentions of other things around the camp and like camp life and stuff, but there's not, I don't know, there wasn't like any extra element to their relationship that felt like, ooh, this is
and she was super, I don't know, like he said jump and she said how high, you know, like he's like, don't speak to me. And she's like, okay. And then turn and would just walk away. Like, what? Do you have any fight in you? I mean, do you have any self-respect? And then like when he approaches her at the end and he's like, mine. And she's like, okay, like, let's go. I'm like, what? Make it work for it a little bit. Like he just strung you along.
Right?
Yeah.
And that's the other, like you said, when they were working in the coffee shop together, and I was like, you two literally aren't putting this together. How? Yeah. Like, I get that he was whispering, but like, for sure on his end, he should have at least known. But then also for her, I'm like, do you not get any kind of vibe? I just feel like you would still get some sort of vibe, or your eyes would have adjusted the smallest bit. You would have been able to see something.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, how do you locate things? How do you locate where things are? I can't figure that out.
Yeah, I don't know. That was bizarre. But, you know, what you said that if it would have been longer, I do think that, yes, it would have had more like substance to it and more time to like explore that plot. But would you have actually wanted it to be longer, or were you kind of happy it was over?
No, I was happy it was over. But I think if it started with some more substance, like more meat in the story, I would have wanted it to be longer in the end, you know? Mm-hmm. Like it like initially jumped right into her talking about wanting to explore this and her friend inviting her to camp. And it didn't even really go into depth about what the camp was too. I mean, we knew it was a kink camp, but I didn't understand the demographic of it. I didn't understand, like, are they sleeping there? I mean, I like, what's it look like? And I wanted a bigger picture of what to expect. I don't know, the scenery to be like. She's like, oh, I've been here 3 days. even at the end of the book, it's like day 4 and they're telling each other, I love you. And I'm like, you've only been there 4 days?
Yeah.
What?
It was a quick progression. Yeah. Rachel got this book. She requested it from her library, and the library came through there for the girls, and they gave her Kink Camp.
Wow.
I totally agree with this. I also did not feel much chemistry between Leave and Grace. But I did, like I said, I liked the side characters. I like the setting is cool. The premise is cool. And the fact that the author at the beginning was like, I've actually been to one of these and like this is what I'm kind of basing it off of was interesting because then when certain things were happening, not like to the characters, but more that they were witnessing, it got me thinking like this is like real. Like she saw this.
Yeah, I just felt like I think for me, well, especially when I'm reading, I have to like almost like world build in my head. Like I just want a scenery build first. I understand, you know, the point of it and, you know, what they're seeing and the things that they're going and like encountering. I get that. But they jump from like being around a group of people to like, hey, we're in the woods now. And I wish there would have been more for me to like set the scenery in my head. So I think that was why it was hard for me to connect to that part of it. Yeah. But I really did like how the friend was like setting them up. Like she would randomly spill something and be like, oh God, like I need this. Can you go grab that or whatever?
Mm-hmm.
I liked that.
Agreed. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. It felt slow, but then like Cheyenne said, when you look back on it, I'm like, this was 4 days. So like timeline is really fast, but pacing I think felt really slow, which I think is why then it's shocking at the end that it is such a short amount of time because it feels like drug out a lot more.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, I've read a lot of novellas too, where I have felt like I like fully know the characters at the end of it. I mean, it's possible to do, and I just don't feel like it's executed. I was imagining summer camp. Yes, exactly.
Which is
it should have been like we got a pool over here or a hot tub over here or like I mean there was a little bit of that but not enough to like build a camp. I don't know.
Yeah. I wanted them to have like some other kind of activities that they were like doing together. Maybe it's like build your own outfit. Like I don't know. Like, it's something like that could have played into it that still felt campy.
The dungeon, isn't that what it's called? The dungeon? That part, like I understood that where they're like, oh, let's go down to the dungeon and that's where like you get up on the stage thing in front of everybody. Like I understood that part of it. But it was like they were just I don't know, like they were in the cafeteria. Wasn't there a cafeteria? Am I like combining? Yeah. Or they're like eating or something and then they just randomly go to the dungeon. I'm like, how do you get from I don't know. Maybe that's just I'm used to full-length books where you have an understanding of everything. So I think that was what I was missing. But maybe I wouldn't want it to be a full-size book now that I think about it.
I don't know. I think if it would have been expanded, hopefully like you would feel more of like the chemistry between the two characters. Like there would be more time to build that up. And also I think more time maybe for their trauma to be like introduced because it felt like to me when I was reading it, they're like off in the woods having their spicy fun times there. And then all of a sudden, like that's all their relationship is. And then all of a sudden there's one scene and they're like, my wife died of cancer.
Yeah.
My mother is like super ill. I'm taking care of her. And like all this, like such a downer of stuff. And
now like the spicy scenes, I think we're good when they had them. I mean, I liked that like he had a little bit more of a dominant side and that was like something that she was hoping for, so he fulfilled that for her. But then it was just like cut and dry, like you said, move on to the next, okay, and then all of a sudden they love each other at the end. I don't get it. I don't get it.
I don't know. Also, Rachel, I think that would be a great idea. You know how, like, you fantasy books, Cheyenne, but like fantasy books have maps in the front. I'm always like, this does nothing for me because I can't like picture that in my head. A map does nothing for me, but I think a map of this
something simple,
yeah.
Just, I don't know. That seems like silly to not, appreciate a book for that, but you have to have some type of background or like you can't invest yourself fully. I mean, and this is our pick. So I was going all in, ready to know it.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that's why, as I was reading it, I was trying to make more like excuses of being like, oh no, like whatever, just kind of like trying to brush things aside more because it was our pick for this. And like I wanted to come in with this and be like, oh, I love our first pick.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't necessarily feel that way.
Yeah.
I don't think it's bad, but it wasn't like, it's not going to be a favorite of mine or something that I'm going to like think about a lot.
Yeah. But like, how are you going to label it kink camp and it really not even be that kinky?
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like that sets readers up for failure because, well, it sets you up for failure as an author, like you're giving people expectation that it's going to be this super steamy read. And I mean, it was just generic. And then at the end, you could see that, I mean, I think it's going to be her friend's book, right?
Yeah, that's what it seems like.
Yeah.
I expected it to be spicier. I agree. I think when you, just like you said, when you have the name like that, you expect a certain level of things. But then right now, like I'm reading Give Me More by Sarah Kate, and that book, granted it's full length, but still, even if that was a novella, like those scenes are delivering way more than like this delivered in all departments, like even in Kink too.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's why I think if it were a full-length book too, sorry if you can hear my ice maker. Those things or those scenes would have been a lot more impactful and like memorable. I mean, because there would have been more of it, obviously. So we're really limited to what we see.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I think a lot of it was like her just questioning him and questioning like who he is and them trying to like discover each other for so much of the book. And then they finally did, which is like right in your face. How do you not figure that out? And then the book's over. So there's not much more than that.
Yeah. Yeah.
But moving on. Moving on.
I did like, someone had said a while about the side characters, and I did like the side characters, and now I can't remember what is the barista's name. Do you remember what their name is?
It wasn't with an L or like
LeMay.
Yeah. Because I remember being like,
we have all these names like Leave or something.
I know. And then you got Grace.
Yeah. I know, so basic. And then what was her friend's name was, I should have written all these stuff down. And then what is her? Oh, Max. So again, you have like Max, Grace, and then LeMay and Leave.
Yeah. I know. And then I thought for so long that Max was a guy. And then she's like, I'm just so confused.
Yep. 2.5. Yep. That seems about right. Agreed.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Let us know in the comments what you rated it and what you thought if you haven't commented yet already.
But for as far as the side characters go, I did think that they added an extra, like a good element to it, because one of my complaints with novellas typically, and just like my complaint with some romance books in general, is that it gets so wrapped up in the couple and just like them two always interacting that we don't get any side characters, or we don't get any like friendships or other relationships outside of the two of them. And I really don't like that. Like you need to talk to other people, because otherwise if it's like chapter after chapter after chapter of just the couple interacting, I'm like, don't you ever talk to
life?
Yeah. So I liked in these ones, like when Grace would go into the coffee shop and talk with LeMay, or she was like with Max, or even like Leave then being with LeMay. Like that was enjoyable for me. I did really like that element.
Yeah, and even like Leave was like, you know, interacting with his friends. Like, what was his friend's name? The one that would have random conversations with Grace.
Was it?
What was his name? Yeah, Zion. What did he call him? Didn't he have a nickname? I can't remember.
I can't remember. Oh, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. Yes, I did like him too. Yeah. That was good. Yeah. And I liked that it was her like exploring it for the first time too. Like that was interesting that she didn't come in there already like Max. Like I think maybe Max would have been a fun character to follow, but I do think it was interesting to kind of see this like almost not like coming of age, but like coming into your own kind of deal at this camp with Grace. That was interesting.
Yeah, and she wasn't afraid to step out of her comfort zone too, like writing the note on the board on her own. She just was like, no questions asked, like I want to do it again. Like
yeah.
Put up there and see if he'll come.
Also liked that she did that. That's bold. And I don't know if I would have had to do that. I think I would have just been like, meh.
Yeah, I know. Like, that's good. Let's not so out there again.
I'd be too scared of getting rejected. Like if I was just alone in the forest that night and like they never showed up, I would just straight up cry.
Especially after how cold he was, where he was like, "Don't touch me," and she's like, okay. She just took it. She's okay. Is that how it's gonna be? Okay.
Yeah. I was like, good for you. I would not have handled that well. I would have been like, okay, so he hates me and everyone hates me and I'm going to go home.
Yeah. She had expectations that she wasn't going to want it again. It was going to be a one-time thing.
Yeah. Which is interesting. I don't really get his whole rule of that being like a one-time thing. Like I get it, but I also don't get it.
Yeah, but then he said he hadn't like, it's been like 11 months. And I'm like, but did we get answers to that? Because if we did, I don't remember.
Well, so from what I understood, it was that he only does it once with each person, but only during like camp. So like when
see, I didn't get that part. Okay, I didn't get that part.
Yeah, that's how I understood it. So I don't know if that's right, but I thought that he will only do it with women at the camp, and then the other. So I'm assuming this camp like runs for a month, maybe. And then, so he'll do it, with multiple women, but only once. And then he'll wait until the next year.
Okay. I don't know how I missed that.
Which is interesting. Like, I mean, obviously everyone grieves differently, but it kind of reminds me of like the priest romances that we talk about, that they're like, they become priests to like punish themselves because they feel like they need to like abstain and stuff. And I kind of feel like that's what he was doing. He was like punishing himself for his wife dying by not ever being with their woman.
Yeah. Yeah. And then they randomly kept saying like Helen would want this. Okay. So was Helen screwing around on him? Like she's like, oh, she would be sleeping with Zed or Zion or whatever his name was. And I'm like, okay, but you couldn't, like, I wish I would have understood that dynamic a little more. Like I wanted more information on his relationship with his wife. Even normally I don't like flashbacks, but if we could have had like one chapter of like, previous a conversation between him and his wife or some type of understanding to know like how their relationship worked, and then what makes that different from his relationship with Grace now.
Yes. I think that would have been really strong because I'm with you. I don't love flashbacks. I'm kind of like, do I really need that and things?
Yeah.
I do think some clarification around his relationship with Helen, because that too, I'm like, so was she like with other people when they were married? And like,
well, it said that. Didn't it say like she slept with, I think it was Zed, like, or she slept with someone else and said that she would sleep with Zed or did sleep with him. But it said that she screwed around. Oh, wasn't there another guy that was introduced? Some other random
she's been with?
Yeah, and they were like, he's like, oh, she slept with Helen. He slept with Helen or something. Does anybody remember that? Can someone clarify that? Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah. Interesting that would be, that then he would have been like okay with that, or then that he would have been like so monogamous to Helen, like even post-mortem, Yeah.
But maybe, but I think that's where she could have elaborated on, and that would have been so much more impactful, like explaining why Helen was that way, why he was okay with it, why he was accepting it. I mean, we don't need a full novel length, description of it, but at least give us something to try to understand why you are the way that you are and why. I mean, because to me, it seemed like, yeah, she passed and he was sad about it, but maybe their relationship wasn't, or their marriage wasn't perfect to begin with. So it seemed like they had issues that were never resolved before she died.
Agreed. Yeah. That would have been stronger. Didn't finish it yet. Yeah, I'd say it's definitely like an interesting read. Like it was something like at least a little different. Like I don't think I've ever read anything that's like an adult camp like that.
Yeah, I'm kind of intrigued. I would be interested to read more books that revolve around that.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, see, that's what I was thinking. Like, I couldn't remember his name. I knew it was like a random outsider that popped in.
Okay. And then, so, yeah, like then I want to see a flashback of Helen.
That's what I'm saying. She sounds like a little hoochie mama. Like, I want to know. I want to know the details.
Yeah, like I'm curious about that now. Why more wasn't included? Because then, like, are we supposed to then feel like bad? I don't know.
I feel like I could have understood him better, though. You know, like why it felt kind. Yes, it felt tossed in. Definitely.
Yeah. Which I think is fine with novellas because you do just kind of have to like jump into things quickly. We don't have a lot of time for exposition. You have to get like right into things. But I think in a plot like this, where it is like she's exploring this kink of hers, she's at this camp, he's struggling with the death of his wife. Like it's a lot to try to pack into a short amount of time then.
Right. Yeah.
Here for the vibes.
At least you're honest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, Nikki.
Hi, Nikki.
Yeah. And fair enough. I think
I was trying to be with my rating, I feel like.
Yeah.
I think it did deserve, 3 stars. I think 3 stars is pretty fair. Yeah.
I think so too.
Like if we're like really critiquing, it would be 2.5 for me, but the storyline was there. It was just a lot of gapping.
Yeah. And like I wouldn't not recommend it. Like I feel like when I rate something 2 stars, it's like I would not even like recommend that to people. But a 3-star, I'm like also recommend it to you. Like if someone was asking, like I wouldn't say no, it's not worth it. But I also would say like this is not one where I would tell people being like, you have to drop everything you're reading right now and go and read this. Like it's amazing, you know.
Well, I know a lot of people who have rated it 5 stars, and that's perfectly fine. Maybe just because I don't read very many novellas, maybe that's why I was disappointed. Maybe that had something to do with it. I don't know.
And I'm not the biggest novella fan either. I do find that I'm like reading a lot more this year. I think because I'm reading them between all of these huge ass books.
Mm-hmm.
The book is like 600 pages right now. So I need something quicker. But I'm not necessarily like, I don't think I've like loved any that I've read recently.
Yeah, I want to know that too. Like, I wonder if Lev am I saying that right?
Was it
I keep wanting to call him Leave or Lev.
I think it's Leave.
Yeah, Leave. Okay. Yeah. I wonder if he was like open about his kinks with his wife because for some reason he just doesn't seem fulfilled. Or maybe like I wonder, which clarify for me if I missed this, when he put that on the bulletin board, like is that something he did every year or always at Kink Camp? Or was that like a one-time thing that he's been wanting? Like, I don't feel like we didn't get clarification on that, right?
No.
Yeah, I didn't think so.
Also, now thinking about it, were we told how he and Helen met?
No, we didn't really get any information about him and Helen.
Because then, like, I wonder, did they, like, did they maybe meet at the camp?
They didn't say anything about how they got married. Like, there was, I felt like it just was like, oh, my wife that died, she passed away. He randomly said it, and then all of a sudden his wife was this like shadow in the background that was following him kind of until it was spoke about from Zed.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know.
Interesting.
Yeah, but that kind of you could have gone without that, don't you think? Like if he was
Helen?
I think her 100%. Plot, like her point in the story, I mean, what was the point? I don't know.
You could have easily just done it of him just being like a closed off guarded person who only like feels safe in this space.
Yeah.
For like no other reason, just because like that's just how he is. Like I don't feel like he needed to have some like tragic reason why he only wants to hook up with women once. And I don't know. I didn't think that he needed like that extra.
Yeah. The wife she can go.
Wanted more spice. I agree. Yeah, it was not on my spice meter. I'd rate it like a 3 out of 5. Like it was.
I don't even think it was that. I mean, we got what? 3 or 4. I mean, we got a lot actually. it was, I mean, once we had them, I felt like it was delivered, but I think they were pretty quick too. Don't you think? It was like in and out and they were over.
That was the thing. I didn't feel like they were super descriptive. Like, I mean, obviously, like there was like descriptive, but it wasn't like I don't know. Like,
there's no talking too, hardly any like
yeah,
conversating in it.
There's no like elongation of I don't know. When I think of like Lucia Franco, who wrote like a 50-page scene, okay,
yeah,
like that's a extreme end, but like she fleshes out those scenes a lot, and like this was not that.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, like so what else was she into except for just like being in an open relationship?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. See, we could have done without her.
Fell in love at first sight. Boop. Tomato, tomato. I think that's so boring. I don't like that.
Is that what they said? Yeah, see, that's why we don't remember it because
Interesting. Okay.
Why do I not remember that?
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe because you and I were both just like, we're done.
Sucks. Yeah.
We're done with this. Okay.
Okay, we were really, really missing the mark.
Oops! Thank goodness y'all are here.
Yeah. Bye, Serafina.
Ooh, that sounds amazing.
Yeah.
I want ice cream. The camp was Helen's idea. See,
where were we? Were we reading this book?
We think you and I were just so over it. We're just like, whatever.
Y'all want to take over?
Basic. Exactly. For it, like we said, for it being Kink camp, even like this primal, like hunting kind of thing, it was still just like, it felt not like vanilla. Maybe like,
it's generic, like
maybe like chocolate chip. You know, like it's still mostly vanilla with a few little like.
Yeah, like you go down the chip aisle. Like, do you buy Lay's or do you buy Great Value? Like, it was Great Value.
Yeah.
That's exactly.
Yes. These books aren't at the library. This one was not. Yeah, it was not one. So we ended up buying it. But next month's pick, I think, is in KU.
I don't know. Originally, we were saying we were going to try to stick to KU, but there were a lot that we had both read. Like one of us had read and the other hadn't.
Okay, maybe this one is not in KU either.
I just bought the Kindle version and it was like $4.
Yeah.
Actually, some of them are on Libby too.
Yeah, and you can't, like, I mean, Rachel asked her library, like, they didn't have it, and Rachel was like, you get Kink Camp, and they got it for her. So I know you can request that, and your library might get it for you. 2 out of 5, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I feel like everyone's spice scales are so subjective, so then I always like to see what someone rates a 1, a 2, a 3, a 4, and a 5, so then I know, like, do we align? Because I saw someone rate, like, Ugly Love by Colleen Hoover a 4 out of 5, and I was like, whoa there, we do not read the same kind of shit.
It's been a long time since I've read that book too, so I feel like I would have to go back and I think I remember reading Ugly Love and being like, oh wow, like this is spicy, but it's Colleen Hoover spicy, so yeah, it's a different scale. Yeah.
And I think like early on, you know, I don't know. I feel like now my taste is very
since Sarah Kate, I'm a little
Yeah, or like reverse harems. I feel like once you read reverse harems, then other spice, it's like this is nothing.
But Den of Vipers jacked me up. I was like, okay, this is like whole other level. Like this is my expectations are like way over there.
Yeah, especially Diesel, that basement scene with the knife. Then
I know. How do you even like as a writer? How do you even take your brain there? I can't figure it out.
I don't know. I mean.
Maybe personal experience. I don't know.
I think if it was, I would love to chat with her and know where she's meeting that type of dude.
I know.
That's fair. But also I do think that at a camp where it's like designed like this, like I feel like the expectation of people more is like we're going there to like play and then we go home and like live our lives. So I feel like in this circumstance, like I feel like if you went out to a bar and met some like random woman and was chatting there would maybe be more expectations attached. But at this camp, it doesn't seem like
Well, it's supposed to be an escape, so why can't you repeat?
Yeah.
That's what you like, and there's only one person or maybe a couple people that are into it too. Isn't that why you went there? Was to explore that. So
yeah. Agreed. In the setting.
yeah.
Yeah, and I think the fact that it's like like it's not just like straight up like vanilla, like they're in a bedroom, you know, whatever. But otherwise,
I did like the chase part of it. I did like that you actually saw like her being hunted. You know, I thought that was. I mean, I guess I was kind of expecting, because there was not a whole lot more in anything else. I was expecting that to be kind of basic too, and like vague with describing how that happened. So, and I thought that specific kink was really interesting too. You don't see that very much.
And I did think that for it being dark, it still felt like descriptive, you know, for you not, or clearly they can't see jack shit because they can't even like tell the other person at all. But at least I felt like I didn't feel like restricted when I was reading. Like I think about Kill Switch by Penelope Douglas, where the heroine is blind, and like reading Winter's POV is interesting because obviously like she can't see anything, but never once when you're reading it do you feel like you're limited by that at all.
Yeah.
In the story. And I felt that here with this. Like at least I didn't think that it felt like it didn't give a full picture of things just because they couldn't see anything.
Yeah, that really did bother me, because there were so many situations that they were in where they're just like sitting in darkness. You're having a conversation too, like you said. Do your eyes not adjust to the darkness? Like, I don't know. I can't figure that out.
It's like a proven thing that your eyes adjust in darkness.
Yeah, but like, how many situations do you get put in? I mean, is it only at night when they hunt each other? I mean, what do you do during the day? Just sit in your room and wait for the night to fall so you can like go out.
I mean, I guess she's working in the coffee shop and he's sculpting, which actually I liked that. I liked that he was an artist and that she was an artist. I did feel like at least then that was a like good connection for them outside of just having like a purely physical relationship.
Yeah. Yeah, that was cool. I did like that part. I really liked Zed's character a lot, actually. I found myself like laughing at his conversations and like more interested in what he had to say than, you know, them.
Yeah, I agree. The side characters, I think, were the strength in this. And so if his book is next, actually, I don't know. Is that out? His book? I don't know. I didn't look it up beforehand, but what I was just like, wait, what is this one called? Hold on. Let me pull it up and see if it's on Goodreads yet.
Yeah, he is going to be booked too. I think Lexi was saying that.
Although this one was only published in April of this year. So, I mean, just because it's not on Goodreads yet, there's still a lot of time for that. He's supposed to be booked too, I think. Yeah, I think that's what the epilogue had said.
Yeah, he's going to be interesting. That shows you that she is capable of writing a well-equipped story. It's just picking who's the main character too.
Agreed.
Yeah, erotica and romance. Yeah,
I agree with that.
I think the title just gave us way too high of expectations too.
Agreed. Also, I don't know about you, but they spent like 2 seconds in the dungeon, and I was like, "Can we stay here, please?
Yeah.
This seems like it would be a fun time." And y'all are dipping really quickly.
Yeah. Can we get another idea of what else is going on around you too? I mean, like it was just like, oh, she saw him. Well, she walked in, and there was like the 2 guys behind her, Zed and the other guy, and then she saw whatever his name was. She saw him across the way, and she's like, oh, I just like keep making eye contact with him, and I'm like, okay, well, what else? What else? Tell me more. Yeah.
Yep. Also, now thinking about it, do you remember how they figured out who was who? Who figured that out first? Was that him?
With the masks, you mean? Like when they had the masks on?
No, but just like in general, when they finally put like 2 and 2 together. Was it in the coffee shop that day with LeMay?
Wasn't he in the coffee shop? He was in there. Crap, hold on. No, they were on the phone. remember they were on the phone and she was running, Grace was running the cafe for him, and something happened, and he was like, okay, well, I'll come and relieve you or whatever I gotta do. And he's like, yeah, and that's another thing. And then randomly he's like, oh wait, that's her, that's the girl. And it was like nothing even happened that was different for you to have that realization. Like, how does that just come out of nowhere?
Yeah.
Over a phone call. And I'm like, you were just talking to her in the coffee shop, and you were like sucking face with her in the woods the night before, and then having a conversation with her. So this phone call, all of a sudden you realize it's her. God.
Maybe because he was only like hearing it again, like he couldn't see her. So then it's like, oh, similar kind of like premise. But also I feel like it's solely on this dude to have figured that out, because she was talking at normal volume. So he should have figured out the first time that he talked to her again after the forest that first night.
Maybe, yeah.
Also excited for Zion's book and side characters. Yup.
Yeah. And she was even like, oh, that seems like the guy from the woods. Like randomly, she'd be like, is that him? Is that him? The girlfriend's putting things together. I mean, yeah, that much of a dodo, you don't realize it? Like, come on.
And like I can suspend my disbelief in books, but this was like a little too much for me, where I was like, I just can't suspend it that much that they really are not putting these things together.
I was ready for it to be over. I was like, is this really our pick this month? Like,
and it was like, it was like 29 chapters or something ridiculous, because when I first downloaded it, I thought it was like 100 pages or less. And then when I saw it, it is 26 chapters and an epilogue. And I was like, screw this up. I don't like epilogues to begin with, but this one, no.
I know. Sometimes I like it when it's like if there's a side character that I like and I want to know if like their book is going to be the next one. I do like those situations, but I could care less if the epilogue is about the same couple that the book was about.
Yep. I'm looking. So yeah, it is going to be Zion and then Twyla. I don't know. I don't think we met Twyla. I only think of like Twyla from Schitt's Creek.
So you think it'll take place at the camp?
I'm like clicking through this like preview, just trying to see if at the end of it has a date, but it's so friggin' long.
What's it called?
It just says Kink Camp 2 is coming, and get notified when Zion and Twyla's book is out.
I'll probably read it.
I think I would, but I think it would maybe take me a while.
Did you see Rachel said that? Twyla is his wife.
He has a wife?
Oh no, Lexi said that. Yeah.
What?
Yeah, did they say that?
Yeah. Did we read this?
Were we reading the same book?
What is that? She was not in book 1. How did we know that? Did he say, I have a wife and her name is Twyla and we're married, like in the book?
Yeah, no, because he was like coming on to Grace. This is weird.
He saw part of her tattoo. I forgot about that. Yeah, dude, that's on you. You're dumb. 210 pages. Yeah. It was a lot longer than I thought it was going to be.
Oh.
Fake married.
How do they know this?
Yeah, guys.
Like, Anders.
Oh my god, wait, because he's a celebrity, and I think he does get outed at the end of this book of being like a part of this kinky camp, right?
Y'all. I don't know.
Now they said that about him being exposed. Yeah. Marriage of convenience. Okay. Interesting.
Okay.
Bonus
I think you and I were just ready for the book to be over.
It's like, I don't like epilogues. Don't give me new information in epilogues, okay?
Yeah, I read it too. That's why I'm like shocked.
He's a movie star. Yeah, I forgot about that. Oops.
See, that's where I think so much information was missing. Like that could have just been like a little point that was thrown into the book. Like, oh, you're escaping your reality, or like something to give that like an insight to. I don't know. That's so frustrating.
Yeah.
So frustrating.
Yeah. No, the only epilogue that I like, I loved this epilogue was, have you ever read A Thousand Boy Kisses by Tilly Cole?
No, I have like downloaded it, sent it back just so many times.
I mean, like, I wouldn't, again, I think I gave it 3.5 stars. Like, I wouldn't not recommend it, but also, like, I don't know if you'd love it. Like, I think it's, like, fine, but.
Isn't it
anyway.
more YA? Isn't it YA?
A little bit more, yeah. Which is interesting because then she also wrote, like, Sick Fucks.
Yeah.
But the epilogue in that one, it's like the final sentence of the epilogue, and I was like, hell yes. I don't want to spoil it since you haven't read it, but that like final line in that epilogue, I was like, this is so satisfying to me. I think like other people probably hated it, but for me, I was like, yes, destroy everyone.
That's what I thought. That's why I say you're like, it's like borderline crazy.
Yeah. Yep. That's me. That's why as a, okay. I mean, good for him.
Yeah, I get it.
Live your freaky life.
Yeah.
While also being famous. That does make me wonder though, like when she talked about this being a real camp, like I've never heard of a camp like this, but that does make me curious, like how many people know about these, and like, is it like an underground kind of thing? I don't know.
How do we get in?
I'm like, I'm curious now. Like I'm invested in this business.
Yeah, see, this could be a huge like world building. I'm like, I don't read fantasy at all, but that's the only way I feel like I can explain it. Like, make it a big thing. Explain what it is, like how everything works. Do you have to get accepted? Do you apply? Do you just like sign up and you're in? Like, what's the process of going?
Yeah.
Where's like, what does the camp look like?
Yeah.
Like, are they picky with who they accept? Like, I want to know more about that. And then I feel like I think I just would have enjoyed it a lot more.
Yeah. It's kind of like with like Voyeur, that series by Fiona Cole with like the Voyeur Club. Like again, like does that shit exist? Or the Salacious Players Club series. I'm like, does this shit exist? Like clearly these camps do.
Yeah.
Like how do you go about that process? Like how do people find them?
There was even one scene where she was like, where they were walking out to the pool, right? Wasn't there a pool scene?
I think so.
Where she was just like, oh, there's like people like screwing over on the lounge chairs or something by the pool. I'm like, okay, tell me more. Tell me more. How did you even get to a pool? Like what? I couldn't picture it in my head. I couldn't picture it.
No. Rachel, were you talking about A Thousand Boy Kisses? Because if so, like it was a solid read, you know. I liked it. I mean, because it's not like a traditional romance, so like it was interesting. Hardcore judgmental. How much you want to bet that she ends up going to this camp by the end of the second book and is super freaky?
Yep.
Yeah.
I just hope there's some like jealousy going on, like, or some cheating or something. Like I need something like that to, like, I wish we would have seen like Grace like being like, okay, you don't want me, like let me go find someone else, and actually acting on it. And then seeing him like go ape shit on her. Like I wish we could have seen that.
Yep. Agreed. See, that's probably the most likely scenario, but also like who just is casually surfing the dark web. Not I. Oh shoot. Yeah, interesting. And then what is next month's read? So that is In Flight by R.K. Lily. Have you read anything by R.K. Lily before, Cheyenne?
I have not. Have you?
No.
So I'm assuming this is flight attendant pilot, right?
I think I think it's flight attendant and then a passenger. And it's a billionaire, Cheyenne. Yeah. We are in for it. Okay.
And it's a series too. So if we like the first book, then we've got more to come.
I have the synopsis. Should I
read it?
Okay. When reserved flight attendant Bianca gets one look at billionaire hotel owner James Cavendish, she loses all of her hard-won composure. For a girl who can easily juggle a tray of champagne flutes at 35,000 feet in 3-inch heels, she finds herself shockingly weak-kneed from their first encounter. The normally unruffled Bianca can't seem to look away from his electrifying turquoise gaze. Love a blue-eyed man.
Me too.
They hold a challenge.
Chiseled jawline.
Yep, thank you. They hold a challenge and a promise, and that she finds impossible to resist, and she is a girl who is used to saying no and meaning it. Bianca is accustomed to dealing with supermodels and movie stars in her job as a first-class flight attendant, but James puts them all to shame in the looks department. If only it were just his looks that she found so irresistible about the intimidating man, Bianca could have avoided his attentions. But what tempts her like never before is the dominant pull he seems to have over her from the moment they meet, and the promise of pleasure and pain that she reads in his eyes. This sounds so good.
I'm so excited.
Hell yeah.
First off, I just love billionaire romances too. Following the same couple. Give me a freaking series and I'm going to eat it up.
Yes.
I'm so good.
So excited. So a lot of people saying that it's which we knew that it was the first in the series, but also like, that's fine. We will continue on. Does it end on any sort of cliffhanger?
No, I'm pretty sure it does end on a cliffhanger.
I would think so if it's the same couple.
Yeah, it's not a
series, then yeah.
Not a standalone. I think there's 3 or 4 books.
Also Disney Pirates, I love that. Also, okay, we had this here. Yeah. Maybe I guess you're right. Like if you're a part of this community, then you know about that easier. But I do just think that's like fascinating. Like then I want like especially the Voyeur Club in the Voyeur series by Fiona Cole. Like that whole premise of that club, I think is fascinating. Yeah,
that's one of my favorite books.
So have you read the whole series?
No, I have not. I think I've read no, I think I've only read 2. I've read Voyeur and Teacher, and I think, well, I read Teacher and then I was like, oh, I probably should have read the one beforehand. Like the brother, or is it the brother?
Yeah, Alexander's book is book 3, and that's his sister.
Yeah.
In book 6.
Yeah.
So it's a trilogy. Mile High and Grounded are the other 2. Okay. At first I thought you were saying something about the Mile High Club by
Swan.
By what?
C.L. Swan.
Yes, and I hated that first book in it.
I cannot believe that. That is my favorite. Jameson.
Really?
Heavens.
Are you for real, Cheyenne?
Oh, listen, I'll fight anybody over it. Like Sam and Jen and all of them love the takeover. I hated the takeover. I hated the heroine. I loved Tristan, but hated I don't even remember her name because I hated her that much. I could not stand it. But Jameson, dear God, like when they have that hotel scene when he first meets her, I'm like, oh,
okay. That was a good scene, and I liked it. It was promising to that point, and then everything that happened after their first encounter, I was like,
what did you like?
I didn't like anything. I hated the 2 of them. I thought they were both insufferable. I'm like, you 2 don't even like each other in the slightest. I hated all of their interactions. I hated every single fight that they had. I didn't like literally anything about
it. Talking about my man. Okay.
I'm so sorry, Cheyenne, but
I didn't realize how many people don't like that book though. Like, I don't know. I can't figure it out. Y'all.
And thank you. I liked Stopover, loved The Takeover, which is the one that you didn't like. Is The Takeover the one with the single mom?
Yeah, single mom.
Okay.
Her kids are they're little terrors too. I like maybe I don't know. I just didn't like her. I liked Tristan. I just didn't like her.
I don't remember that. Was that in this one? See, I think I blocked that book out of my brain. I was like, I don't know. What was Elliot's book? Do you know?
Is that the brother? The other brother? Isn't that the Casanova? Or whose book is the Casanova? I haven't read that one.
I don't know. I didn't continue on with the series, and I probably won't, because like I don't think that one where it was like the single mom, it's like just single dad, single mom, kids, like not my thing.
Yeah.
Casanova was that one.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay. And then if this one's name is Elliot, that's my nephew's name, so like probably no. I'm probably not gonna read that either.
Yeah, so I'm really excited for In Flight. I think that one's gonna be really good.
Me too. Oh, do you want to say hi? My son stopped by to say hi.
Hi, baby.
So cute. Didn't they change the title? I don't know. Did they change the title of this?
I think it was just Kink Camp, and then it was Kink Camp Hunted.
Maybe because the next one's gonna be like Kink Camp.
Yeah, whatever it is. Yeah, I don't. Maybe she like wasn't planning on continuing it, and then which I don't even know if it was changed. I don't even know if it was originally only Kink Camp. I thought maybe it was just always that.
I don't know. I didn't notice that. If it did change, but also I didn't like know about this when it first came out in April. Like this was a new to me author for this one as well. So like I wasn't in the loop when this originally came out. So
yeah.
Yep.
So when's our live show? You want to talk about that?
Yes. Let me pull it up. Okay. Next live show for In Flight by R.K. Lily is going to be Wednesday, July 27th at 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Central time for the next one. I think we're going to have good luck with this one because it's everything that you and I love, and it maybe sounds like it's going to be like maybe BDSM vibes with how it sounded.
I think so. And like from what I've read in because I always go back and read reviews before I read anything anyways, I think that's a huge portion of what I saw. I don't know if you've read Turbulence by Whitney G. Have you read that?
No, but I want to. It's on my TBR.
Okay, I read that and it seems like, well, that's Flight Attendant Pilot. So I'm assuming it's kind of going to be similar to that. I mean, he's a billionaire. Well, not millionaire because he's a pilot. He owns like all these companies and yada, yada, yada. I wasn't crazy about that one though. Okay. That one. I was hoping for a little bit more, but I like books with lots of steam too, but I have to have some type of plot line behind it too. You know what I mean? Like if it's just like screw in this bathroom, like well, give me something else, like we talked about with side characters, and it didn't really have that. So that was my only issue with that. But I think it's going to be similar to that with the same, premise.
Yeah. I read one other book by Whitney G, another novella, and like it was fine, but it was very like spice, no plot whatsoever. And it was like a novella, so again, like I was kind of like, yeah, it was fine, but I do want to read that.
Yeah.
Also, we had a question of how do you join a book club here on YouTube? I barely started my book channel. Well, welcome.
Yeah.
Cheyenne, do you want to like explain how you can join?
You just show up. Yeah. We just
show up.
I mean, if you go to our pages, we posted a video of the next 6 months of books that we're going to be reading every month. Just basically one a month. And then we have a live show at the end of the month. And like next month, it'll be on my channel and we'll link it. That way you can set up notifications to be reminded and you just read the book on your own time and show up to the live show and talk about it.
Yeah. So next month, like we've been saying, it's going to be In Flight by R.K. Lily. And if you go watch both of our announcement videos, you can see like the full lineup of everything. But otherwise, and we said that it'll be on Wednesday, July 27th at 7 p.m. Central, 8 p.m. Eastern. But we'll like be posting reminders and stuff on our Instagram. So if you have an Instagram, you can follow both of us on there. It's both of our like names on here, like, oh, hey, it's McKay and that tall book girl. So you can follow those and then you get like reminders and stuff.
Yeah.
And also hot. Yeah. So I don't know, like when I did my No Thought, No Plot, Just Hot video, I still think those were like, I like really liked a lot of those still on that list. And I thought that a lot of them were like much hotter than this one. I don't think I would even put it on that list. I don't necessarily think The Spice deserves that list for me.
Yeah. Maybe as like a recommended novella just for people to, I mean, because a lot of people have liked it. I think that would be one to recommend in that sense. But yeah, the steam was not there.
Cheyenne, your Steam rating.
But I think maybe 2. I didn't really think it was that steamy at all. Maybe 2 or maybe 3, somewhere at 2.5. We'll call it 2.5.
Yeah.
I wasn't very impressed. Like I said, but I mean, it was just they were very vague, and I think I wanted a little more description.
Yeah. Also, some love for In Flight, so I'm excited.
Good.
I think it'll be a good pick for us. And like you said, how you were feeling like billionaire romances lately, this is like the perfect time, I feel like, to do a billionaire romance.
Yeah. And so, and you guys in the comments, if you've read it, are you going to reread? I'm just curious. Like, are you going to participate, or are you going to just show up and just talk about it?
I have been seeing so many people starting the Crossfire series or rereading it ever since you posted about like us doing this mass reread. I'm like, Cheyenne is making a resurgence happen.
Goodreads is blowing up with the Crossfire series. I get so excited. I'm like.
Let's go.
And Wolf Hotel. Everybody's reading Wolf Hotel too.
God.
Well, you and I were talking about it, and then I made that reel about it too, and then all of a sudden it was like, everybody wants to read it. Everybody started. I saw one girl did a 5-star. I was like, yes, it's so fulfilling when you recommend a book and someone likes it.
When someone rates a 5 stars. That's like when Jess said that, and even like when you were like, I'm going to start Sweet Dandelion, I was like, oh my God, I get so nervous when like I recommend like my hardcore ride or die books, because then I'm like, what if they hate it?
Wait, so okay, what's your number one favorite book? Like if you could pick one to like keep with you, to recommend, you're always your go-to one that you always fall back on, that you love forever. What is it?
I mean, like standalone would probably be Sweet Dandelion, but like series is Off Balance. Like that is like uncommon for me. But it was Wolf Hotel yours.
Wolf Hotel's my series. I think my standalone is No Tomorrow by Carrie and Cole.
I need to read that. I haven't.
It's so good. It's so good.
I seem to get on the Carrie and Cole train, because also I want to read like her Embers and Ashes series and stuff. That's
not my favorite series. I really liked Storm. And that's the first one. That's like Forced Proximity too. That one was really good. But I don't know. I really loved Hush Hush by Lucia Franco. That's one of my favorites.
I really need to read that. Rereading. Yeah, I'd say if 2012, 10 years later, give it
Come on.
I mean,
I don't know. I loved Christian Grey.
Did you read 50 Shades? Did you read the books?
I didn't read them. No.
Okay. I didn't know.
The movies.
Yeah. The movies are a fun time. Okay. Yeah. I love watching hot people live a life I won't ever live. So like,
I think I liked the movies so much that I was like, I don't even want to ruin it and read the book.
Yes.
You are, Monica. Yay.
Hell yeah.
Keep us updated on how you like it. I will recommend that series for the rest of my life. It's so good.
It was so good. And I feel like that has a broader reach, like where I feel like I can't recommend Off Balance to everyone. But
well, Jess from Honest Fiction, she's loving it. She's like, I am so far invested, like I have to finish.
I saw she literally bought the collectors, like the bind up volume, first 3. I will reread is this? Oh no, Crossfire. Humphrey Reed is Duff Crossfire. Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know if we said this, but at the end of the month of July, like probably 12 booktubers and us, we're all going to be posting vlogs of us rereading it, or some reread or reading for the first time. So I'm excited to see that
resurgence. I mean, fair enough. That was me. I read the Crossfire series at work. Like I used to take that into work with me when I still was in the office, and like over my lunch break, I would read that. And it's like, Michaela, you probably shouldn't have been reading that like at work. If anyone walked by and saw what I was reading. I loved Christian.
I loved that whole soundtrack of that whole movie, like all the movies. It was so I'll replay it. I'm at the gym on the treadmill and I'm listening.
So good. They're such good soundtracks. Also, the Cafe series. I love Wrong. I really, really liked that book.
I don't think I liked that one. I think that was the only one I read though.
I started right, and then I like wasn't in the mood for it, because like rom-coms I have to be in the mood for it, and if I'm not, I'm like hate them.
Do you like Megan Quinn?
I've never read a book by her, and I have no desire to.
Yeah, I figured you didn't.
Do you read her books?
I've read some of them. I actually like them. I don't really like small town romances, but she is just hilarious. Her humor is yeah, capital letters. That's my favorite song on that soundtrack. Forever. I was like, what were we talking about?
Megan Quinn.
Oh yeah. She has like I don't even remember what the series is called, but like one of the books is called Two Wedding Crashers. Oh, and the other one's like Three Blind Dates or something. And this girl goes to this wedding and she meets this guy over there and they like wedding crash basically. So the whole time that they're talking to other people at the wedding, they're like telling random stories, like pretending to be different people, and it like everything's reverted back to like this small town, which I don't normally like, but she is just so funny. She's so funny. I like her hockey series too.
I feel like I can picture the covers.
It's the Vancouver Agitators. The first one is Kiss and Don't Tell, and the second one is Those Three Little Words.
Okay.
Yeah. They're pretty steamy too for a rom-com.
I haven't read anything else by Sylvia Day except for the Crossfire series. Yeah. So
I think I was gonna read that at one point when I was like on such a high from Crossfire.
Yeah.
See, she read it too.
They're so freaking addictive.
Henry is just God. Some of those scenes.
Something else.
I know.
Also, Tori.
Oh, Tori, you just texted me.
It's okay. Tell me why we should read. I'll let Cheyenne do that.
Okay, so we got Henry Wolf. Okay. Okay, so well, do you know what it's about? That's what I want to know first off. I'll just tell you anyways. So Abby is from a small town in Pennsylvania. She has, her family is like big into the church. They're a hover family, what I would call it. Like in a small town, everybody knows everything about everybody. She has no experience whatsoever, life experience too. She's basically been courted to this guy her entire life. And so she's engaged to him and finds out that he's cheating on her. So she's like, screw everybody. She goes and applies for this job on a landscaping crew at Wolf Hotel in Alaska. So she flies out there. The scenery in Alaska is one of my favorite parts of it. I'm sure you like that too, right? It's just like nice for it to be somewhere different. And you see that because like they go out in the woods and like chop lumber and like work in cabins. And so she goes to this big hotel and she meets Henry, and Henry Wolf is the owner of Wolf Hotel. He's a billionaire. So it's like got all the drama, like the spice. Henry is very experienced in like life experience and sexual experience. Abby is a virgin. She knows nothing and she's just there for a good time. Mm-hmm. She meets like a bunch of people along the way. Like a lot of the side characters are amazing. Like her friend group that she meets there of all the other workers. Henry teaches her a lot of things and introduces her to a lot of really fun people. Like, it's a good time. And it's over 4 books. So you get a lot of different, I don't know. You see her mature, and you're not going to like her in the beginning, because she's very like, oh, this is against my morals. This is against what I've always been taught. And then she blossoms and she comes into herself in the best way. Yeah. It's really good.
Also, Tori, we love you. It's okay.
Tori. Tori, tell us what you rated it though.
Yeah, because I know she had just finished it. Yeah. And also the good thing about that series too is that they're shorter. Like they're all like 250, 300 pages. So they're really like, you feel then like you're flying through them too, which I also think adds to the reading enjoyment. When you look down your C, you're like, oh, I'm already at like 30% in and I feel like I haven't even been sitting here that long.
Yeah. Yeah. And there's always something happening too. So it's just addicting. It's addicting. I think Sam from Sam Reads a Little, her and we always gravitate towards the same books to read, but she'll either rate really high and I'll rate low. Like we never are on board with what we thought about it. This one I told her, and the girl could not stop. I mean, it's kind of like you, McKay. You did the same thing.
Mhm.
It was, I don't know. You just can't stop. You get fully invested. I like books with drama, though. I like the more drama, the better to me. Like, I want another love interest to come in and shake things up.
Yeah.
What keeps me reading. But I want the hero to worship the heroine.
Yeah.
And Henry does that. He takes care of her.
Yes. See, I love it. I love another love interest, or kind of like when they're a love interest, but not like where you actually think that they're, where the author is like kind of think that it like might be. It's like, no, I want it very clear that she's like going to go back to the original dude. I love that in all series except for Off Balance. I was like, hey, let's not make Hayden and Rhea happen whatsoever.
Yeah.
Also,
yeah, but like Hova could have his pick, but like she couldn't. Like her relationship with Hayden was like super short lived.
Yes. Yeah, like fair. Like yeah. I don't know. I think like Hayden was just like fine, whatever.
Yeah. But like one thing in Wolf Hotel that I really do like is Henry wanted her to experience everything. Like before she committed to him fully too, he was like, I don't want you to have any regrets. Mm-hmm. And he was there through a lot of it. And there was a period of time where, you know, he wasn't, and she got to live her life fully, like no strings attached to her family, and have all of her experiences, and then fully commit herself to him. So he was just super, I just love him.
Yeah, it was done really well. Yep, Tori, that's what Cheyenne and I both rated it. 3 stars. Yeah. See, I love actually a lot of my favorite books are like 500 pages. It's just when I'm like seeing them constantly, it's kind of like, okay, this is a lot. Yay, Caitlin. Oh, good, Tori. Yep. No, you guys are. Yeah. Yeah. It was just like you couldn't stop. You really couldn't. So good. So.
And the spice was there. It was there.
Yep. Also, I didn't cope well when I read these back in 2020. I went into a huge slump, and I reread them last year and still felt the same way, and I want to reread them already again. I'm like, you literally need to read some other books, but I want to do a reread. Yeah.
I was pretty slumpy after too.
Mm-hmm. It's hard. So good. Alrighty. Well, it's been good. Yeah.
RK Lily.
Yep.
Next month.
Wednesday, the 27th at 8 p.m. Tori, it'll be 8 p.m. your time next.
We're changing it for next month to 8 p.m. here, 7 p.m. Central.
Yep. So, all right. Well, thanks everyone that joined for our first club, and we will see you next month then.
Bye, guys.
Bye.